Today, we're going to unpack a pretty controversial argument making the rounds online. The idea that Western parenting is in a total state of crisis. And it all kicks off with one very bold claim.
So there it is. This is the statement that really fuels their entire perspective. The argument isn't just that some kids are spoiled, but that it's a massive, undeniable problem that's only getting worse. So what exactly do they mean by that?
All right, so first, we need to understand how they define the problem. For them, this isn't about a few isolated incidents. They see it as a systemic failure, a kind of cultural rot that's being passed down and getting worse with every generation.
The core idea here is that kids today are being corrupted by a culture that just doesn't believe in discipline anymore. Instead, it rewards entitlement, which creates this downward spiral that they believe is weakening society from the inside out.
And to back this up, they point to scenes you've probably seen yourself. You know, kids having a full-blown meltdown in a store, or even adults throwing tantrums in public. They present these moments as symptoms of a much bigger societal problem, where nobody, at any age, seems to have emotional control.
So what's causing all this? Well, according to the source, the blame falls squarely on modern parenting. They argue that the basic tools of discipline have been completely abandoned or even made illegal.
They really draw a sharp line in the sand here. On one side, you have what they call coddling, where parents are supposedly afraid of agencies like Child Protective Services or CPS, so instead of using physical discipline, which they see as necessary, parents just comfort the tantrums and avoid confrontation at all costs.
And this is where they make one of their most controversial points. They directly connect this issue to family structure. The argument is that single-mother households are a major source of the problem because, in their view, women are naturally more likely to coddle, and a father is essential for proper discipline.
Okay, so to try and prove this theory, they present a case study that they believe perfectly shows how a lack of discipline in childhood leads directly to an entitled, dysfunctional adult.
So here's how it plays out. It starts pretty simple. An adult daughter won't get out of her dad's car. But it escalates fast. She accuses him of having dementia, he feels so helpless that he actually calls the cops on his own daughter, and then she just turns all that defiance on the officers.
Now, their interpretation of this is everything. They say her behavior is a direct result of being rewarded for acting out her whole life. The father is powerless, so he has to outsource his parental duties to the police. For them, this is the logical conclusion of a childhood without consequences.
And this is where they really raise the stakes. They argue this isn't just about family drama. They draw a straight line from this kind of behavior to adult criminality and a total breakdown of social order.
This quote pretty much says it all. In their view, undisciplined kids don't just grow up to be difficult adults. No, they become, and these are their words, criminals and degenerates. And they have another case study they use to try and prove it. So this next example is a woman arrested for a DUI. The key details they focus on are her reckless driving, the fact that she physically fights the officers, and, what's really horrifying, the discovery that there's a child in the car the whole time. They frame her behavior as the absolute peak of entitlement. And then they lay out all the official charges, just to show how serious this was. I mean, the list is long. Aggravated DWI, child abuse, battery on police officers, resisting arrest. They use this to show her complete disregard for any kind of authority.
But this, for the speakers, is the real kicker. After all of that, the dangerous driving, the fighting, the child endangerment, she was apparently offered a ride home. They present this as the ultimate proof of entitlement. Because of who she knew, she got special treatment, which means she'd never actually learn a lesson.
Okay, so after painting this pretty grim picture of society, they finally offer their solutions. And, you probably won't be surprised to hear, their proposed fixes are just as provocative as their diagnosis.
Their solution is basically a call to return to what they see as traditional discipline. They tell parents to stop coddling, to use physical correction when they feel it's necessary, and to see it as a loving, even biblical duty. But then they take it a step further and say, hey, if the laws where you live won't let you do this, there's another way.
And this is their most radical call to action. They are literally telling their audience, if you don't like the parenting laws in America, leave. Move to a country like Mexico, where they believe the culture is more accepting of the kind of physical discipline they advocate for.
To really drive the point home, they bring up the cultural idea of la chancla, the slipper. They hold this up as a symbol of what they admire: swift, effective, no-nonsense physical discipline.
It's the kind of parenting they feel is missing in the West, but celebrated elsewhere. So when you step back and look at all this, it's clear this source has a very specific, very extreme point of view. But it does make you wonder, whether you agree with them or not, what does this intense debate over spanking and entitlement really say about our deeper anxieties about the future and the kind of values we're all fighting for?